Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being with me today. I always appreciate your company. Here we are back in Planet Zoo, and this is our town project where we're trying to build an entire town within Planet Zoo. So no animals, not yet anyway. There might be at some point in the future, but not just yet. In our last episode we put in this park in here with a small pond. I was very pleased with how this all turned out. But today we are going to be working just behind me here, and I've already got started so I can show you our first shop front. So this is going to be a line of shops all the way down this side here. Now it's quite a challenge this, because coming up with new ideas for buildings it's not that easy, not with quite a limited palette within the game. Now for any of you who have played Planet Coaster, there was a lot more variety of building options in Planet Coaster. Oh, excuse me. For any of you that have played it, you'll probably remember it was a very popular thing to do, like what was it called? Like a main street. I think a lot of the big Disney parks have things called main streets, where it's lots of big buildings with shops in. And obviously in theme parks that makes sense, but in a zoo it doesn't. So there aren't as many choices for designing buildings within this game, which is why you often end up duplicating ideas. As you can see, this first one that I've done is very similar to our courthouse that we've done over here. But you just have to try and come up with new varieties of things. So in this one, for example, just by putting on these extra stone pieces at the top, it just makes this top piece look a bit different. But I've multi-layered, so I've gone with bricks at the bottom and then a layer of the limestone wall here, and then I have used these top pieces. The tops of buildings is tricky. There's not that many different ways of doing the top of a building, so you will see me use these things many times probably. In this case I've also used these at the bottom here, so you'll see these are the same pieces here, and I've just sunk them into the ground just to create a slightly different shop front at the bottom here. I've put in these nice sort of glass pieces here. So this is the glass modern wall. I thought that looked quite good for the front of a shop. And this is a clothes shop, so you can see I've got some media screens again inside here. So these are just 3 media screens with pictures that I've downloaded and put on. So they've various clothing items hanging up in the shop window. That's the idea. Don't look too closely because it doesn't look great, but it kind of gives you that impression that there's some sort of a shop window display there. Doors are another slight issue in the game. There's not that many choices for doors, certainly not ones that look like the front of a shop. So yeah, you just have to do what you can. In this case I've just used one of these sort of big classic stone doors, give it an arch and a number. It is what it is. There's not a lot more you can do really. I do love these pieces, as you know, I've said this before, but these little decal pieces are wonderful. They are so good when you're doing this sort of building where you've got the brick underlayer and then the limestone. These things look great because they just give you that little bit of detail that makes it look like the limestone has just chipped off and you're revealing the brickwork underneath. It just looks amazing. So yeah, it's a pretty simple shop front really. It is just the front. I haven't done the top or the back yet. I will be doing backstage stuff eventually, but for now I just wanted to focus on getting the front of this line of shops done, and then in another episode I will start work behind. Obviously we've got a bit of an alleyway down here, and so there will at some point be some kind of a backstage area, but it's such a detailed thing, the backstage, that it could well be a whole episode in itself, so I didn't want to worry about that too much for now, at least. So there we go. So there's our first shop, and there's going to be, I think, 5 along here, and then I actually do a little pub on the end as well. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how some of these have turned out. They're all a bit different as well. It's another thing, trying to come up with different ideas for shops. I don't want them all to be the same sort of theme. I certainly don't want to have to try and do these window displays with them all, because that's really tricky, actually finding photos that look good enough to use on these media boards. It's not as easy as you would think, because of course you've got to try and get the scale of the photos right, and sometimes they end up being sort of too squashed and thinned down, so you've got to get the right shape, the right size, the right sort of detailing on them as well. Yes, it's really not as easy as you would hope, but I think I'm doing okay with it so far. But anyway, there we go. Let's move on and see what our next little shop is, shall we? Well, we've got sort of 1 and a bit shops in this next cut. So I just wanted to do a small shop here, and it's meant to be a Chinese herbal medicine shop. So I've managed to get a picture on the media board here of kind of jars and things. If you look too close, it looks terrible, but just zoom out a bit and it kind of looks like shelves full of little jars and bottles and stuff, doesn't it? And I've tried to give it a bit of a Chinesey look. So I've gone with this clay tiled roof. This little canopy over the door, the red door. That, don't ask me why, but the red stuff looks Chinesey. It's a very popular colour over there, I guess. I mean, it might not be, but it's certainly the impression that I get. And a little bit of shape with this lovely trellis up on the top here. Again, it's actually more of an Indian sort of look, that, but I don't know why. I just thought it sort of suited the look of the building anyway. And then I went with the white limestone, and it was all just a little bit too white, so I decided to use some of these nice stone pieces turned sideways to create a little sort of an edge to the window, and there's one there just sort of behind the door as well. I don't know, it just sets off the window a bit. The contrast of the black and the white I thought looked pretty nice as well. So again, really simple little shop front, but not everything needs to be super detailed or completely different as well. Certainly a lot of these buildings, if you think of most old towns, a lot of these buildings would have all been built at the same sort of time, so you wouldn't expect them all to look super different. So the idea is I'm trying to make it look like maybe they are all built at the same time, the same basic structure, but over the years they've had like new windows fitted, or a new roof has to be installed, or new posh fancy windows down here, or new doorways, that sort of thing. But the actual basic structure of a lot of them will be very similar, with the brickwork and maybe the sort of the plaster over the brickwork as well. Again, this building this one actually has got a roof, but it doesn't have a back yet. But it may do at some point. So that's our little Chinese herbal medicine shop. And then the next idea I had, and it ends up looking nothing like this at all. I wanted to do a toy shop. And what I wanted some kind of a window on each side of a doorway. So I wanted a central doorway, and then like a curved window that came out the front. Now, I knew it was going to be tricky to do a curved window, because putting in the media boards as pictures in a window, obviously the media boards aren't curved, so it was never quite going to work very well with a curved window. So I don't end up with a curved window. I end up with one of those the sort of hexagonal windows, or whatever shape it is. You'll see in a minute anyway. But yeah, so that's what we're doing next. It's going to be a toy shop, and it does end up looking really good, but it does not end up looking like this. That was just my first attempt at a rough shape. So let me load up my next save point, and you'll see a bit more of the kind of idea that I had. So this is the final shape that I came up with. So these are, I don't know what shape are these? Octagonal. There you go. Hang on, octagonal, sorry. So yeah, so if you had all 4 of them done, there would be 8 sides altogether, but if you just do this, it's just the front half of an octagon. And I thought that would be a bit easier to do with the media boards, because at least they're flat edges. But also it gave me the shape that I wanted. I wanted the windows to butt out of the front, sort of onto the pavement. And then you've got this recessed bit here. So I've done this obviously with a few different bits of building, because I needed to get all the angles right, and I need the walls to be a consistent material. So I had to do these angled bits with separate walls, and then I've got a separate bit at the end here as well. So yeah, so pretty straightforward so far. I liked the continuation of the brick around the bottom here, just continuing on the brick theme from both of these 2 previous buildings as well. It did provide a bit of a challenge, this building. I won't lie, it's not an easy one to finish. It looks great actually in the end, but certainly these pieces here, because the problem is you have these glass pieces that you can do at this angle, but you don't have pieces like this bottom bit, you see. So this brickwork at the bottom is all done with these new individual non-grid brick pieces, so I've had to build that out of them, unfortunately. But you can't do the roof a very good shape because you don't get octagonal shaped roof pieces, which is a real pain. So yeah, you are quite limited as to what you can do over the top with these. I can't remember. I think I end up with just square roofing, unfortunately, over the top. But it looks fine. It looks good in the end. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, let me move on, shall we? I'll load up my next point and we'll see what sort of progress I make next. Right, so you're getting a bit more of an idea of what the finished shop is going to look like. So I went with the, what is this, clay tile, is it? Yeah, painted clay roof tiles. I liked the red colour. I know I've used red in this building next door, but I thought the red contrasted really nicely with the limestone wall. I think I've actually done, let me just check this. It looks a different colour, that piece and that piece. Can't quite tell actually. Yeah, that's a grey. I think this one is more of a... No, it is just my imagination. Okay, it's all the same colour. I couldn't remember. I know at one point I had an idea of doing the top wall piece here a different colour to the bit at the bottom. I think at one point I did do that, and in fact I may still do it. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We will keep an eye on it. I can't remember if I recolour this bottom wall or maybe the top wall. We shall see. But anyway, so that is the roof that I've put in place. And obviously it's not finished yet. I've had to create this sort of little fake roof in here with planks to try and cover this up within the glass pieces. However, you still end up with big gaps here. I can't remember if I bother filling those in or not, to be honest. That's the problem when you have a different shaped roof to the window piece. They don't blend together. You know, you need something in this gap here, don't you? But it's just the game isn't designed that way, unfortunately. But I think they look fine. I mean, you know, if you're just looking like this, it looks absolutely fine. In fact, I think it looks really good. So yeah, and then you've got this nice sunken area in here. So I've continued the brickwork around the bottom here all the way in to where our door is. I think I do change the door. That is, I'm pretty sure that was just a temporary door just to get the look of it correct. Obviously I've capped all this off with a roof here now as well. And then moving up the building, I put these windows in place because the idea is that you've got the downstairs of the shop there, but then the second layer might be sort of offices and store rooms, that sort of thing. So there'd be windows up there to let the light in. And I'll put a small window here, just thinking that there'd be something here probably to let some light come into the ground floor as well. But I wanted to kind of separate it off, which is why I've used this trim. So this is, oh no, it's not the trim, sorry, it is the full window. I think I tried the trim and it didn't look very good. So in the end I've actually used these full roof pieces here and just stuck them out the front, and it just makes it look like a sort of a continuation of the roof there. And then I believe I do actually use the same pieces for the main roof that comes up the top as well. But yeah, there we go. See, because it's starting to take shape. Obviously it doesn't look like a toy shop yet, but it does in the end. Trust me, it does in the end. In fact, I think I do colour this bottom wall. I've just had a flashback memory of what I do to this wall to make it look like a toy shop. So I'm pretty sure I do colour this in the end. You had to forgive me because I've done this building. I did this sort of 3 or 4 weeks ago, so I can't actually remember what it ends up looking like in the end. I just remember I really liked what I did with it. So it's as much of a surprise to me as each time I load up these save points as it is to you, which is kind of nice. You know, it's quite nice sometimes having a really bad memory because it means that you're sort of reliving your own experiences over and over again. Right, let's move on. Let's load up my next point and see what I did next. And there we go. We have a toy shop. I went a bit nuts, I'll be honest, with the outside of this shop. I really wanted it to look fun and colourful and inviting. It's a proper toy shop. So it's called Tix Toys. That was the best name I could come up with. So what have I done? Like I said, I did colour the bottom of this building blue. I just thought blue was a lovely bright colour, but it also meant that I could use these pieces. So you've got all these art pieces here. So you've got a star, and I put the sun over the top. You've got these grass pieces, a monkey, a bit of vine, a leaf, a frog, another leaf, and some vines there. You've got the world. You've got a rainbow, some stars, and an arrow, all sorts of things in here. Just making it all look really colourful and inviting. A little kid coming along would see all of this and go, "Yeah, I want to go in there." There's toys in there, and the door changed as well. This was the most sort of toy shop looking door that I found. I think that looks pretty good. The windows were a bit of a challenge, but I've managed to just about get them looking half decent. So I managed to find some photos of what we got. We've got teddy bears in little sort of cupboardy bits there. You've got a big sort of arrangement of toys there, and then some shelves here with some old sort of 1950s, 60s toys and things there. I think over this side it's the same pictures. I just rearranged them. I really struggled to find different pictures to use, so I just had to reuse them on this side. But you know what, I'm going to forgive myself for that, because that's not the main thing. That's just an annoying sort of side effect of having glass windows, is that you need to put something inside them. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's going to do me for what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm pretty happy with it. Also got a couple of these signs outside just saying "Sale now on," just trying to drag people in off the streets. And that was kind of it really. I also just put a little bit of curbing at the bottom here. I thought just to separate the brickwork from the blue wall. I thought it looked good having just that little bit of extra edging there. A bit of wood as well, a bit of a wooden frame here around the sign. And the sign itself was kind of fun. This in-game font lends itself to this sort of thing because it's a bit cartoony, and obviously I've just coloured it as well just so it looks nice and bright and inviting. Probably shouldn't have used blue on blue really. Maybe I could change that to purple. Didn't actually occur to me at the time, but the blue kind of gets a bit lost, doesn't it? So I might need to change that. And the roof, like I said, I've just continued the same roof up the top here. And again, I haven't really done anything at the back because I need to think about exactly how I'm doing the backstage stuff. But there we go, there's our next shop. So that's 3 shops done now in our row, and I am really pleased with how that is coming along so far. All 3 are slightly different, but kind of got that same brick theme, just continuing through them all. So let's find out what I did next. I can't remember. There's at least 2 more, I think, but I can't think what they are. In fact, it might not even be a shop. I think I do something else here that isn't a shop, I think. But we'll have to find out. Oh no, I think I do a shop. Sorry, it's all coming flooding back to me now. I think I do another shop, and then I do something that's not a shop, and then I do a pub. Yeah, let's find out. So let's move on to our next save point. So this is just the start of my next little building that I put in here. First thing I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure that I left little gaps for alleyways and things, because again, realistically, you do get lots of alleyways between buildings. So I've done that, put a little archway in there just as a little connection. I think I do actually put another one of these large stone pieces across the top here to make it a bit of a more solid archway there. And then this building, I wanted to do a small greengrocers, we call them in England here. So it's a small sort of fruit and veg shop, essentially, like a newsagent where you can just pop in and buy all your fresh produce. Purely because I was looking through the items that we have in the game, and one thing we do have quite a lot of is all the fruit from, I think it's all Indian themes. So you've got little carts, you've got cardboard trays, you've got a few what have you got? You've got some sort of wooden boxes and various bits of fruit. You've got tomatoes and oranges and pineapples and melons and stuff like that. So just looking at what we actually had in the game that I could use, I thought it lent itself to a little sort of an Indian themed street market almost in here. But I wanted it to connect to a building, but I also wanted it out the front as well. This is easily my favourite building that I end up actually putting here. But for now, it's just a simple brick structure. Just gave it a bit of an angle. These new pieces that they've given us, these non-gridded pieces like this, are amazing. They are so helpful, and I really wish they'd been in the game from the start, because it just allows you to add these little details on, like having these bricks at an angle here instead of everything just being straight and on the grid. So that's really cool, being able to do that. I wanted a couple of windows that I could then put some media screens behind. And again, I know I've used this as the top of the building before, but again, it's tough to make the top of the building look different all the time. I can't remember. I don't know if this ends like this or if I do some more detailing. I'm pretty sure I do. The doorway again is one of these nice classic doors. And then I've just, what have I done? I've turned, let's have a look. Yeah, so I've turned the doors sideways here as well, just to create the a sort of a double frame there on each side. And then again, just a bit of stone decoration above the door there as well. I think that makes it stand out quite nicely. Right, so let me load up my next point and show you a bit more, because this is I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. So let's move on and see it progress. Look at that. I am so pleased with how this looks. It looks like a proper little marketplace, doesn't it? So I did do the archway, as I said, so I've just put this extra piece of roofing stuff here just to make that archway look nice and solid, like it was actually built as part of this the main building here. I did detail the top here as well with these lovely rounded pieces. I think that just makes that look a bit more finished and nice bit of detailing there. The windows, I managed to find some little pictures of fruits and veg to go in here, and they're kind of angled pieces, so they're slanted away from the windows. Makes it look like they're actually, all these fruits and whatever, all actually sitting in the trays, kind of stacked up in the windows. Again, it's not perfect, but if you just come back sort of to that sort of distance, I think that looks pretty good actually. And I gave the windows some little wooden frames, very simple there. These pieces are really good as well. So these are basic canopies. I've just given them legs and put them there. And then it's all this Indian theme stuff. So you've got these boxes here. I've hung up some bits of the sort of the fabric here. I don't know why, it just looks right. I mean, it doesn't make sense really that there'd be sort of hanging rugs and things. But I don't know why. I just thought it looked sensible to have them up there. Sometimes in the games like this, you just have to try stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, I think they actually look pretty good having these bits of cloth hanging up here. And then you've just got sacks. So you've got melons, pineapples, oranges in the sacks here. You've got these lovely Indian carts, and then you've got these cardboard trays that you can put the bananas and the oranges in. You've got some melon slices and pineapples. So we've got quite limited amounts of fruit. So obviously I've got melons twice, I've got pineapples twice, you've got oranges twice. But there is only so much you can do. So you've got some of these rugs here as well. So maybe they're selling some classic Indian rugs. Why not? So they got a couple of stacks of them, more sacks of melons and oranges here. You've got these rose petals or Indian flower sacks. I don't know what they're meant to be really, but I thought they looked decent. And then here you've got some melons sitting in a tray, and then you've got another one of these lovely carts here with some fresh tomatoes, and again some more melons sitting in the little cardboard tray there. So it is a limited palette of what we have to use. But I think I can kind of forgive myself, because I think it looks really nice. It looks inviting. It looks like a shop basically. That's the idea of all of this stuff. It looks like a little welcoming sort of market stall, and then you can go inside and buy even more. So there we go. That looks pretty nice. I'm pretty pleased with how that's all coming along. So that's 4 fronts of shops we have now. 2 more to go, I think. I'm pretty sure I do 2 more here. Let's load up the next point, shall we, and find out what I put next door. So next door we have another apartment block, or indeed a block of flats as we call them in the UK here. So again, it's kind of continuing that same theme with the bricks and the sort of the stone structure. So it's a simple brick wall, stone windows, and then I've just layered in the these limestone sort of trim pieces between each level of the building. Up the top, so I've used these new edge ornament pieces, and I've just sunk them in. So these things actually go quite a way in. They're very decorative like that, but I didn't want them on the outside of the building. I just wanted them as sort of roof supports. So those are there. I'll put a couple of these things on the corners. Don't know why. I needed something because where these trims met each other, they didn't look very good. So I wanted something just on these corners here, just to hide the meeting of the trims. So that's what I went with there. I think that looks okay. And then a tiled roof, and just did a slightly different pattern with the roof. Instead of making it up to a point, I've made it come down into a flat piece in the middle here. And the door as well, I wanted to do something a bit different with this, so I've gone a bit over the top, I'll be honest, with this. I can't remember if it finishes like this or if I do something else with it, but I've used one of these pieces inside. So this is that new decorative bridge sort of stone arch steps thing. Sorry, that was a terrible description, but you know what I'm talking about. So that comes in here. I've used this same door, so this is the a media screen up the top here with a door picture put on it. That was the same that I used in my other block of flats. So the stairs actually come right into the back here, but I've sort of blocked them off halfway with the door there. And then I've made the entrance here just really sort of over the top and ornate. A couple of nice lights outside, and these big pieces. These are the same pieces that I used up on the roof here, and I've just turned them sideways and put them here. And then a bit of stonework in the middle here as well. So yes, it's a little bit fancy. I can't remember if it stays exactly like that. Obviously I've still got detailing to do down here. Also on the edges, I've put these stone pieces up the edge. These look really, really good with the brickwork. That's something you'll see on pretty much all of my buildings. Wherever I have brick walls, I'm going to have these stone pieces up the sides, or on the corners rather. And again, I haven't done too much detailing at the back. I have actually completed the back just because it was easy, because I just copied and pasted the design round to the back. A building like this hasn't really got a back, like a backstage area like a shop would have. Like a shop would have like a loading bay or something at the back, or some sort of access, whereas a building like this is probably going to have a fire escape on the back, but other than that it's not really going to have anything too different to what it's got around the rest of the building. Right, so let's move on, because there's a load more detailing that I do out the front here before I then move on to, I think, our final building, which is going to be just on the end here. So let me load up my next save point. Okay, so I've just detailed this this bottom section a little bit. I did get rid of some of the ornate stuff around the door here. It was a little bit over the top, so I've just thinned that down to a more normal looking doorway now. I've called it the Dodo Flats. It's very hard coming up with good names for these things, so yeah, the Dodo Flats. And I've put some windows in on the ground floor here. I had to sort of create a windowsill, so that's just a basic stone window at the back, and then I've turned one of these other classic windows sideways like this, and made that into a little brick windowsill. I thought that looked pretty cool. In the corner here, I've used some of this new stuff. So this is that, what is it? It's moss, surface moss. Just in this corner, because this corner is quite a dark corner, so I've got some on the floor coming up the sides and just creeping along the roof here, because that's sort of a dark shady area. I thought that looks pretty cool. Stuck one of my trees in the side here as well, giving it some little weeds growing at the bottom. This is a nice big poplar tree, this one. Just because I thought that it just needed something here. It just looked a bit bare, so I thought a nice tree coming up in front of the building there I thought would look pretty good. And then I've just given it a bicycle chain area here. So this is copied from the one that I did around our office building down the end there, and I just recolored the the metal pipes. I think there was silver on the other one. I've just made them black, and then I've just redone the bikes, just moved them around, recolored them. It's a shame we've only got one designer bike and it looks like something out of the 1950s, but there we go. Again, you have to work with what you've got. So I've just put some bikes in here and just colored them and moved them all around a bit, make them look a bit randomized. So I think that looks pretty cool, and it is something that you find a lot in this country where you have blocks of flats. There will often be bicycle. What is this called? What's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's a bike. It's not a bike parking area. I suppose it is, but I'm sure it's got a name. I just can't think of it at the moment. But anyway, you do find that in lots of places that you get that kind of thing. And I've also just finished this off in here with a bit of a brick roof as well for the entrance there. The main reason I did that entrance like that was just so that it's a bit different. I didn't want to just do a big flat door on the front again. I wanted something a bit different, so I just thought doing some steps going into the building and upwards, it would just look a bit different and unique. Also just continued the flower pots on the lampposts along this side of the road as well, because I've done them down there. I have done them on this side, but I'm not going to continue that over here. It might be a bit over the top if it sort of spreads to everywhere. I don't know how far this bit of path is going to continue going this way, but I thought it looked pretty good, at least down this side, and we'll see. I might put them elsewhere as well, but for now that's as far as they're going to go. So there we go. So there is our next block of flats done. Again, it's a pretty simple design, but not all of these buildings need to be super complicated and intricate. Some of them like that really is what they're going to look like in real life. They're just big, plain, repetitive buildings. So yeah, it does what it needs to do. So let's move on. I think I've just got the one more, which is a small thatched roofed pub that I do at the end here, which I'm really pleased with how this one turns out actually. And I am going to do, at some point I will do a bigger pub because I like the theming of it, so I will do a big standalone pub somewhere in the town, but for now it's just going to be a little one connected on the end here. So let's move on and take a look. Right, so you can see the basic shape of the pub is in. So I've rounded off the pathway at the end here and turned the road, so the road will continue down here. So the idea that I wanted to go with this pub was that it's a very old style pub. Now whether it's an actual old pub or if it's a new pub made to look old, it doesn't really matter. But here in England, a lot of our old buildings had this sort of cross beams of wood, angled wood. You'll see more once I do more. But yeah, so everything was done with wood. And so that's the look I wanted to go for, but also what they tended to be like was very small upstairs, very low roof, sort of second floors or first floors. So this is the ground floor, this is the first floor, and you wouldn't really necessarily get a lot of height. And so that's what I've tried to make this appear like. So the downstairs is just as big as the next floor, but they're both quite low. If you look at the height of this first floor in the building next door, it's almost one floor here is almost the equivalent of 2 floors on this building. Obviously this one is going to have an angled roof, so this second floor is going to sort of continue into the roof, but a lot of old buildings in England are like that, where the angle of the roof is part of the second floor of the building. Yeah, you'll get a bit more of an idea of what I mean once it's all built. It does make a bit more sense then. Obviously, because it's overlapping to this building here, I have to get rid of certain little things, like this window here has to go. But again, you'll see all of that. But yeah, so that's the basic sort of shape and size of my pub. Let me just move on, and you'll get a bit more of an idea of what I'm talking about. Right, hopefully you can really see what I mean now. This turned out really, really nice. So this is a real traditional English pub look, where you have the white plaster walls with all this wood frames around the windows and the doors, and then you've got these lovely angular wooden posts as well. yeah, if you've ever been to England and travelled around a bit, you'll see lots of buildings like this. Not just pubs, but houses as well. It's a very traditional look. So that's what I've gone for, and I think it works really nicely, especially with the thatched roof. Got a little window on the end of this piece here, and then I've designed a little flower box as well, and then that continues, so it continues all the way down this side. You've got an extra door at the end here as well, and again just the flower boxes outside the windows here. Each flower box is a little bit different as well, just to make sure that I'm not just copying and pasting. So each flower box has a slightly different arrangement of flowers in it. There's one more on the back side of the house there as well. Now at this point I thought, yep, okay, that's good. That looks like a nice little pub. Still got some more bits and pieces that I needed to do. So another tradition for pubs in England is that you have a pub sign that hangs off of the building at the front here. So I needed to design one of those. And another tradition of English pubs is a small pub garden. Even in the middle of a big city, most pubs will have an outdoors area. So I thought it was a good opportunity to do that at the end here. So I do put a door on the back of the building here, and I build a small pub garden as well. So I'll show you that in just a second. Just one other thing that I have done. I went back to this building next door and just added on a couple more details, which is something that I'll do whenever I find pieces that I want to use elsewhere. So I found these lovely iron pieces here, and I thought they looked really good, used on the walls here, so you can see them on there, and then I believe yes, they're duplicated on the back of the building there as well. Now what these are, I don't know whether they're meant to be in the game used as this. Let me actually see what they're called. Yeah, just wall decoration iron bar. Well, what these are, and again, I don't know if this is an English thing, but it's actually a part of the structure of the building. So essentially, this iron piece here and the duplicate iron piece on the back here would actually be connected right through the middle of the building with an iron rod, essentially. Now, obviously, in this case, that isn't what they're going to be used for, because they're in the wrong place. If they were going to be used for that sort of connection, they would be used in this sort of area where the floor is, because obviously here they would be going straight through the middle of the first floor of the building, which wouldn't make sense. But anyway, I just put them on because I thought they looked good, and yeah, I just thought they suited the look of the building. I also just added on a little weed growing up here. I don't know why, I just thought, yeah, why not? Let's you get weeds like this, they seed themselves in little cracks and things in buildings, and so I just had this random idea that I'd put a little weed growing up on the wall there, where it looks like it's just seeded itself in a crack and managed to grow. So there we go. So I just wanted to point that out as I went along. So yeah, we're nearly done with this episode. It's quite a long episode, this one. I've done quite a lot, really, but there is still a bit more. So there's a bit more work on the pub to go. So let me just load up. I might just be one more save point. I'm not too sure. Oh, hang on. The other thing that I've done, sorry, this is something else that I did going backwards. I put some more of these planters around the side of our park over here as well. I think, yeah, just on these three corners, because these corners are quite large areas, and I just thought they needed something in, so I've just gone with some of these nice poplar trees in our little stone planters over there as well. Phew, so much going on. Right, let me just load up my next point. This might be just the last save point to show you, and then you will get a good view of our finished line of shops. Okay, we are all done now with our pub. So I've managed to design a small sign here. I couldn't do it quite how I wanted, because I wanted to actually have some writing on it, but none of the signs that we've got in the game were suitable. They're not small enough. I couldn't make them sort of blend in with anything else, so I just created a small wooden sign. So this is actually a flaming torch from the Arctic pack sticking in here, but it kind of makes a good hinge, so I've just hidden the torch inside the wall here. And then these are just some wooden Arctic pieces on the ends here. Just, I don't know, just obviously in real life it would have the name of the pub on there, but I just couldn't do that, so it's just a nice little sort of suggestion, I guess, of a pub sign sticking out there. This grunge effect here, I love this. This is the Surface Decal Grunge. So I've used that on the wall here because it's perfect for this limestone look, and it just looks like all the dirt and grime that's on the path has just been sort of washed up onto the wall and just worn it down, and oh, it just looks great, doesn't it? Little details like that is what makes these buildings really come to life. So I've used that along the floor here, used some up on the first floor as well in places, just to make it all look really sort of dirty and grungy and used, you know. So yeah, very pleased with how that all looks. And then this is our little beer garden back here. So I put a door in the downstairs bit here as the access, and then I laid down a bit of pathway at the bottom, as you can see it's sticking out at the end here, so that I could put some proper benches down outside with a couple of canopies and some bins. And then I've covered it up with this lovely rustic stone ceiling used as flooring. Now I thought with the wall, I wanted this back wall here and the side wall to be quite solid, because when you're sitting in here, this is all going to be backstage stuff over here, so you don't really want to be able to see all of that. You don't want to be exposed to dirty alleyways or loading bays or whatever. But then this front section here, I didn't want the same wooden top to this wall here, because I wanted this to be quite open and inviting, so people walking by would see people having fun in here and think, oh, that's a nice little pub garden, I'll go in there and have a pint. So that was my thinking there. The lighting, I found these lovely little sort of Christmas lights, and this is something that you find in English pubs quite a lot, where they put these lights up for sort of the winter time, and then they just stay up all year round, whether they're used or not. During the summer they'll just keep them up because it's easier to keep them up than it is to take them down, basically. So they are all the way around the edge here, and let me just put it to night time. You'll see they just light it up enough, you know, just so that people could actually sit out there and enjoy a drink in the evenings. Now the other thing that I've done with this little area here is this curb. Now this is something that you see in England quite a lot. Wherever there is a step that's maybe a bit hidden and might be a trip hazard, you'll find that people paint them nice and bright colours so that people spot them. And this I've just done with these curbs, and I've just duplicated them up to make sort of one big curb. Also stops people getting sued, because you do find that if somebody trips over a step, they will try and sue whoever owns the step and claim that it was dangerous. So by putting down a curb like that, you can stop yourself getting sued. I've also put a drain just down here in the floor, just so that they could wash this area down and sweep away all the grime and the water down into a drain. And that is our little pub garden. Really simple, but kind of exactly what I needed it to do. Nothing too big and fancy, but yeah, I like it. I really like it. And that is our first sort of shopping street done. Really, really pleased with how this looks. So you've got your pub, you've got your block of flats, you've got your grocery store, a little alleyway entrance, a toy shop, a herbal remedy shop, and a clothes shop. And I think it looks really, really good. I'm so pleased with how this all turned out, actually. So there's a good variety of building sort of designs, but it's also quite I don't know, it looks like it all belongs together, you know, particularly because I've continued the brick theme all the way through. Every building has got some of the brick in it. So yeah, I really like it. So please let me know what you think. Do you like my first shopping street, or do you not? Let me know down in the comments. If you've got any ideas of buildings that you want me to put in my town, then please also let me know about that. And if you've liked the episode, please hit the like button. That would be really, really good, and it just helps the videos get out to more people. Now, a quick spoiler for our next episode. It's going to be over here in this big gap here, this funny shaped gap, and it's going to be a petrol station, and I've already built that, and it was a bit of a challenge, but it's turned out pretty good, I think. So tune in for that pretty soon. I'll release that as our next episode. But for now, that is going to be it for our town project today. So thank you very much for spending a bit of time with me. Sorry, it's probably been quite a long episode, this one, but we have got a lot done, and I have been waffling on quite a lot. So please forgive me for that. But I do appreciate you sticking with me till the end and spending a bit of your time with me here. So please do take care of yourselves, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye for now.